All right, listeners, buckle up. We're diving into a real-life treasure hunt today.
Oh, this is gonna be
A
good.
mystery with kind of an Indiana Jones vibe to it, you know.
I like where this is going.
The Amber Room.
Ah, yes. A story for the ages. Opulence, intrigue, war, and of course, a disappearance that, well, let's just say it's fueled countless theories.
It's one of those stories that sounds almost too incredible to be true.
Right.
This room, this legendary Amber Room, it was so unbelievably extravagant, so richly adorned.
They didn't call it the eighth wonder of the world for nothing.
Exactly. Just try to picture it with me for a sec. Walls completely covered, floor to ceiling,
In amber.
in glowing, shimmering amber.
And not just any amber.
Oh no, we're talking intricately carved amber.
Accented with gold, mirrors, precious stones. You name it.
Oh man, just thinking about it makes you want to hop on a plane and go searching for it, Fred.
Well, hold on to your hats, because the story of the Amber Room is quite a ride.
Where do we even begin with something this massive?
Yeah. Well, our journey starts back in 1701 with King Frederick I of Prussia.
Yeah.
He was the one who commissioned this artistic marvel.
He was one who started it all.
Yep. Initially, he intended it for his Charlottenburg Palace.
So this was supposed to be like his personal chill-out space, decked out in amber.
You could say that. But the Amber Room's destiny, it had other plans, much like any good treasure,
It's almost like it had a mind of its own.
traveling through time, sparking international incidents.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Seriously, it took a major turn when it was gifted to Tsar Peter the Great of Russia in 1716.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like a random act of generosity either.
There had to be some political maneuvering going on there.
Oh, absolutely. King Frederick William, the son of Frederick I's son, he saw this as a way to, well, solidify a pretty crucial alliance.
The Amber Room, a diplomatic tool.
Among other things. So off it went to Russia, started its journey in the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg.
Okay, so now it's in Russia, but it doesn't end there, does it?
Not even close. Serena Elizabeth, she had even grander visions for this thing.
She was like, this is nice, but it needs more amber.
Pretty much. In 1755, she moved the whole thing to Catherine Palace.
Another palace. This room got around.
It did. And that's where it underwent a huge transformation.
Oh.
Yep. Under the watchful eye of the Italian designer Bartolomeo Francesco Rastrelli, that's a mouthful. The Amber Room, it was expanded, embellished, overhauled, a whole 10-year project.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's like longer than some Hollywood marriages.
It was a massive undertaking, no doubt.
Yeah.
But, oh, the result, absolutely breathtaking.
Paint us a picture. What are we talking about here?
All right, picture this. 55 square meters. That's the final size.
Okay, that's big.
Filled with these intricately carved panels, mirrors, statues.
And amber, don't forget the amber.
Of course. 6 tons of it, to be precise.
6 tons. That's got to be, what, like the weight of an elephant?
You've got it. An adult elephant. Just imagine the amount of work that went into that.
I can't even imagine being in that room. It must have been like stepping into another world.
It must have been an experience unlike any other.
And I bet it would cost a king's ransom today.
Oh, you have no idea. Modern estimates, they put the value anywhere between 200 million
Okay.
to a staggering $500 million
500 million for a room.
for that room. So we've got this priceless treasure, yeah. The pride of the Russian Empire.
And then World War II.
Exactly. 1941. Nazi Germany invades the Soviet Union. Leningrad, well, St. Petersburg now, but back then, Leningrad, where our Catherine Palace is, it's right there.
In the path of war.
Uh-oh.
Yep. That's where our story takes a turn.
A dark turn.
For sure.
So what happened? What did they do with the Amber Room?
Well, the curators at Catherine Palace, they were in a tough spot. A real dilemma.
I bet.
See, the Amber Room's panels, they were old, dried out, brittle.
Oh, no.
Any attempt to disassemble them would have been a disaster.
You would have just crumbled.
Exactly. They were trapped. So they went with a risky tactic. What did they do?
Camouflage. They covered the entire room.
What?
Wallpaper, ordinary furniture. They tried to make it blend in.
Hoping the Nazis wouldn't notice? That's a gamble.
It was a long shot, for sure. Especially knowing the Nazis' reputation.
Their reputation for what?
For looting. Art, cultural treasures, they were meticulous about it.
Oh man, that's chilling. The Amber Room. This beautiful piece of art caught in the middle of this horrible war.
It shows you the impact of war, how it threatens even the most precious things.
Right, right. And to make things worse, The Nazis had this whole art looting operation going on, right?
The Raubkunst, they called it. Super efficient, ruthlessly organized.
They weren't messing around.
Nope. And the Amber Room, with its German origins, its value.
It was a prime target.
You bet.
So, did the camouflage work?
Not quite.
No.
In October of 41, the Germans found it.
They found it.
They weren't fooled for long.
So what happened? What did they do?
They disassembled the room, packed it up, shipped it off to Königsberg Castle.
Back to Germany.
Yeah, in what's now Kaliningrad, Russia.
Wow. Just like that, the Amber Room is gone.
Gone. For now.
Because this is where the real mystery starts, right?
This is where things get interesting.
Okay, before we get into all that, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to unravel this mystery. Okay, so the Amber Room is in Königsberg Castle, now in the hands of the Nazis. But then, poof, it vanishes. What happened?
Well, buckle up. Because the theories about what happened to the Amber Room, let's just say there's no shortage of them.
I bet. All right, lay it on me. What are we talking about here?
Okay, so the most common theory, the one a lot of folks subscribe to, is that it was destroyed in those bombing raids.
Bombing raids, yeah.
Yeah, in the final months of World War II. Königsberg, it was heavily bombed.
Makes sense. It was a major target, right?
It was. And especially between April 9th and 11th, 1945, the city was just devastated.
So the theory goes that the Amber Room just went up in flames.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
Case closed, right?
Well, that's kind of anticlimactic.
You'd think so. But here's the thing. The Soviets, they did an assessment after the war.
To see what was left.
Yep. And their initial report, it backed up that destruction theory.
So there we go. Mystery solved.
Ah, not so fast. See, the guy who wrote that assessment, he later changed his mind.
What? Seriously? He
But
just took it back.
He did, which has led some to believe that maybe the Soviets weren't being totally straight with everyone.
Ooh, a cover-up.
Maybe. It definitely raises some eyebrows.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So is there anything else that suggests the Amber Room might have actually survived?
There is one pretty interesting clue. In 1997, Germany. A piece of the Amber Room tops up.
No way. What, like a chunk of amber?
Not just any chunk. A Florentine mosaic. One of the panels. It was with the family of a German soldier who claimed to have helped pack it up before Königsberg fell.
Okay, so at least we know some of it survived.
Right. Keeps the hope alive.
It does. But if a whole mosaic panel survived, what about the rest? Where could it be?
That's the million-dollar question. There have been these persistent local claims that parts of it were found.
Found? Where?
In the cellars of Königsberg Castle, after the war. And get this, they were apparently in good condition.
The castle was bombed, though, right? Wouldn't those cellars have been destroyed, too?
Well, according to these claims, the cellar survived. But then things get even weirder.
Weirder how?
Those cellars, they were sealed off. Nobody could get in. Researchers, the public, nobody.
And then what happened?
1968, the entire castle demolished.
Hold on, they demolished the castle.
Yep, orders of Leonid Brezhnev himself.
That doesn't make any sense. If they had parts of the Amber Room down there, wouldn't they have wanted to, show it off, study it, preserve it?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? That's the part that has kept historians and conspiracy theorists scratching their heads for decades.
Why destroy the place where it was supposedly found?
Exactly.
Okay, so what are the theories on that?
Some folks think the Soviets wanted to avoid embarrassment.
Embarrassed.
Maybe they mishandled it, lost some of it, who knows? And they didn't want to admit it.
So they blew up the castle to cover it up.
It's a possibility.
Wow. Okay, what else?
There's the whole Cold War angle. Maybe they didn't want the Amber Room to become, like, a bargaining chip.
A pawn in the Cold War. That's kind of wild.
It was a different time, a lot of secrecy, a lot of, well, let's just say creative diplomacy.
I can see that. So, okay, the destruction theory. Maybe not so clear-cut. The Soviet cover-up theory. Pretty intriguing. What other explanations are there?
Well, there's the whole idea that the Amber Room was smuggled out of Königsberg before the Soviets even got there.
Ooh, like a secret escape route for priceless treasure?
Exactly. People have been searching all over. Bunkers, sunken ships. There was even a theory about a mine shaft somewhere.
And what about that Polish bunker? The one that was in the news a few years back?
Oh, yeah, that one. A lot of hype, but ultimately, another dead end. Sadly, no concrete proof has ever turned up.
So we've got these theories, these rumors, these treasure hunts, but still no Amber Room. It's like it just vanished into thin air.
It's a puzzle with a lot of missing pieces.
But you did mention something about a replica, right?
Yes. The replica. A testament to human ingenuity and a glimmer of hope that the Amber Room's beauty could be, well, reborn.
Tell me more about that. How do they even go about recreating something so complex?
It was an epic undertaking, that's for sure. 1979, a team of German and Soviet craftsmen got together and said, we're going to do this.
Ambitious.
They had these grainy black and white photos, a few fragments of the original panels, and that's it.
Talk about a challenge.
It was, and it took time, 24 years to be exact.
24 years. That's longer than it took to build the original.
It was a labor of love, a true passion project. They had to recreate over 350 shades of amber to get it just right.
350 shades. Seriously. I had no idea there were that many shades of amber.
Amber is pretty amazing stuff. And to capture the amber room's true splendor, they needed every single one.
So how much did all this cost?
Well, the final price tag. $11 million, and it was finally finished in 2003.
A pretty penny.
It was. And it was dedicated by Putin and Schroeder, the leaders of Russia and Germany, on the 300th anniversary of St. Petersburg.
Wow. A pretty big deal then. I guess the amber room, even in replica form, it still holds a lot of symbolic weight.
It does. It's a bridge between cultures, a reminder of shared history.
But at the same time, it's not the real amber room, is it?
It's not. There's something about the original, the mystery, the history that just can't be replicated.
It's that Indiana Jones factor, right?
Uh-huh.
The allure of the unknown.
Exactly. And that brings us back to those Königsberg cellars.
Mysterious cellars.
We know some of the amber room survived the war. If those stories about finding parts of it in those cellars are true...
Well, the plot thickens.
It does, doesn't it? Why all the secrecy? Why destroy the castle? It's almost like they were trying to erase the whole thing from history.
And that begs the question, why? What
Why?
were they so afraid of?
A question for the ages. Or maybe. A question for you, dear listener. What do you think? What's your take on all this?
We've laid out the facts, the theories, the dead ends. What conclusions do you draw?
Do you think the amber room was destroyed in those bombings? Or do you believe, like so many others, that it's still out there somewhere?
Waiting to be found. Maybe you even have your own theory. We'd love to hear it.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About how easily things can be lost.
It does. You know, on the one hand, you have the symbol of, well, ultimate luxury, beauty, incredible craftsmanship, the amber room.
A masterpiece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, boom, war comes along, and it just disappears, vanishes into thin air.
It's a stark reminder of how fragile things can be, even the most precious things.
And it makes the mystery surrounding it even more captivating, doesn't it?
It does. It's not just about the amber and the gold, you know.
No, it's about history. It's about art.
It's about the power of war, the destructive power of war. And I think it's about that human need to solve puzzles, to uncover the past.
That drive to find what's been lost. And, you know, it's interesting. We have that incredible replica.
The one we talked about.
Yeah, meticulously recreated. Took decades, millions of dollars. But it's still not the same, is it?
It's not. It's a fantastic achievement, don't get me wrong. But it's like, imagine seeing a perfect copy of the Mona Lisa.
Versus seeing the real deal.
Exactly. There's just something missing.
That aura,
Yeah.
that history, the fact that the real amber room was touched by, you know, czars,
Okay.
kings. It was a witness to history.
It holds a story that the replica just can't tell.
And I think that's what fuels those theories, the treasure hunts, the endless speculation.
A hope that it's out there. Somewhere.
Waiting to be rediscovered, maybe tucked away in some secret bunker.
Crated up in a private collection. Who knows?
Which brings us back to those Königsberg Castle cellars.
Right.
We know for a fact that some of the amber rooms survived the war. That mosaic piece proves that. So if those stories about finding parts of it in those cellars are true, well, it just adds another layer of mystery to the whole thing, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Why the secrecy? Why demolish the castle? Was it all a cover-up?
What were they hiding? Were they afraid of something? Or someone?
We may never know the full story. But one thing's for sure. The Amber Room's tale is far from over.
It's a puzzle with missing pieces.
A historical thriller, still unfolding.
And now it's your turn, dear listener. What do you believe happened to the amber room?
Do you think it was destroyed in those bombings?
Or do you think it's still out there somewhere, waiting to be found?
We've given you the facts, the theories, the rumors. Now it's up to you to decide.
Maybe you'll even uncover a clue that leads to its rediscovery. Who knows? History is full of surprises.
It is.
And until then, the mystery of the amber room will continue to fascinate us.
A reminder that some of the greatest treasures are the ones we've yet to uncover.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of history's most enduring mysteries.